How do you do, Exiles? We are on the new build. We got it out of the campaign and we got it in the maps. It's been pretty smooth so far. We're doing Caustic Pathfinder. I am so sick of running slow builds, and I want to do something different this league start instead of rushing to T16 and getting wash stones and the same old process that I've done every single league. I want to like MF, and I want to do it from league start. And I think that Caustic Arrow is going to provide me that ability to do so. So I've just leveled it. I don't really have a POB. I'm just kind of winging it right now. Eventually, obviously, I'll have a POB and we'll have everything worked out. But now, like, this is all just testing at the moment. So I'll have video footage of a map that I did, T4. Nothing special in the corner of the video. And yeah, let's get into the gear. Pretty cut and dry stuff, like really cheap things. We got a couple of vintage gambles. One of these I rolled like really early in the league. Just found this random quant belt that I figured I'd should probably put on some gold worm and some Samina's touch. None of these are like max quant, but we're just starting out. The gear overall is pretty bad, right? We only have a +1 bow. Yeah, so it's all really bad. We're probably like, I just did like a set of like 8 maps, tier 4 graveyard, and it's performing just fine. I'm pretty impressed. I'm pretty impressed with the way it plays. I would like it to have a bit more movement speed, but we're also coming down here to get some of this stuff and kind of help out our movement speed just a little bit more. As far as our passive tree goes, let's go ahead and refund these two. Put those right there. We're kind of all over the place at the moment. We're hitting as many of the DOT nodes as we can. Flask effect, a little bit of life, a little bit of evasion, some reservation, life on kill, generic damage, frenzy charge stacking, and coming up here and getting some more chaos damage and skill effect duration. Obviously picking this so we deal more damage to enemies that have energy shield. And beyond this, I reckon I'll go natural remedies and then come over down here to reflexes and kind of go from there. I have no idea what clusters are good for this build, so I'm probably just going to take some chaos damage, like a large chaos damage, and a medium, or maybe 2 mediums. I don't know. I haven't really thought that far yet. I just wanted to get the character to maps and see how it felt. Now, one of the things that I'm going to do with this build is I'm going to get it to T10s and have it farm T10 reliably and see how much currency can I make off of farming T10 maps. All right, because if I end up league starting this next league, this is going to be something that you pay somebody to get your void stones, which is already, for the last 4 or 5 leagues, has already been cheaper, or however long the void stone mechanic has been out. It's always been cheaper to just buy your watchstones from a bosser, which is fine. It's a very symbiotic relationship, and we can do that and then focus wholly on making as much currency as possible and doing it as quickly and efficiently as possible, which is what I'd like to try and achieve with this build. Now, I don't know how popular Caustic Arrow is. I'm not really sure if it can MF. I'm just trying it just to see. Last league we tried Bleed Bow MF, and honestly, it was shite. It was terrible. I hated it. It didn't feel good. It did horrible damage. This one feels a bit different. This one actually feels fairly smooth. And having Val Caustic Arrow, I think, is a large part of that. So that's the build so far. As far as links go, I have no idea what I'm going to fill the rest of these sockets with. All I've been running with is a 4-link Toxic Rain with Withering Touch, a 4-link Caustic Arrow, Malevolence, Despair, Dash Second Wind, Blood Rage, and Grace. Beyond this, I'm not really sure what else to put in. I gotta really sit down and think and look at the list of support gems and skill gems and see what could possibly be a good addition. I'm thinking, you know, especially for bosses that don't have ads, maybe doing a Mana Forge Arrow Frenzy setup. Since we won't have Blood Rage to give us frenzy charges on those single target fights. So that's one thought. And then possibly getting a bit more mana reservation and running Skitterbots. I would really like to run Purity of Elements. But I just don't know if I want to be able to fit it. I guess I could drop Grace since we're running as fast as we are and we're not getting hit a whole lot. I think maybe I can drop Grace for Purity of Elements, which I think would still make us pretty tanky. I'm a little weary about that because I only have 80%. We dropped that. I'm at 64%. That's pretty bad. But I'll tell you what. Let's buy a Purity. Let's buy a Purity of Elements and let's run that for a bit and see what happens. Because I reckon it's not going to be all that bad. But it might be. I don't know. So we can run this and give it a shot. It'll definitely help us out on our res. And this might be the play early on just to help us like right when we get into maps. And, you know, we can always double dash away. We have some things that we can do to get away from mobs at, you know, a pretty good, they're fairly available to us. So yeah, that's it. Hopefully next video, I will see you guys in T10 maps. And then we'll fully redo our atlas, you know, and make sure that we have the appropriate amount of points. And we'll try expedition and we'll try a couple of things and we'll see if we can make some decent currency and see how viable it is. And just kind of, you know, instead of being so concerned with getting to T16 as soon as humanly possible, like I do most leagues, maybe we try a different strat and just hang out in early reds and yellows for a little while and just make our currency, right? Because we're going to need, what, at least 5 or 6 div just for our bow. But the good thing is, I think our bow is, like, fairly deterministic. It's like a real typical chaos bow, which I've made before. Anyways, this is the progress and the journey that we're taking on this build. I chose Pathfinder over... I thought about Occultist, and... I saw that there is a like a Righteous Fire Chaos chess piece, but honestly, it kind of looks like shit. And I feel like the objective is to keep mobs away from me. So I decided to go Pathfinder for the flasks. The flask and the wither effect is super nice, and I figured single target was going to be the worst. The worst thing about this build, and actually so far it hasn't been that bad, but that's also thanks to withered effect. So that's it. If you guys enjoy this type of content, please, if you feel so inclined, drop a like and a follow and a subscribe. All that good stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Be good. Take care of yourselves.